Hey, it's Lebo with Lebo's Pinball. If you've been following along on the Bankball series, I think we're on, this is part 8, I think we're getting ready to do. And the last episode, I showed about cleaning up the lock bar. We polished out the metal, made it look a lot better, put new end caps on. Really happy with how that turned out. So with that in mind, I want to kind of extend some of the metal treatment into the side rails. So if you take a real close look at this one, you can see where we've got, again, the scratches that are all up and down it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now take these off. There's nails along the side here. They're those special kind of nails that got a little, it's almost like rifling in a barrel. There's a little swirl in there that helps keep the nail from walking itself out, which also makes them a little bit harder to get out. But I'm going to take them off. There is a slight little bend in this rail right here. Looks like something was dropped on it. And normally you would see that on a pinball machine with a head that folds down, and if someone folded it down and dropped it, like on the back box, the wood here can hit real hard and put an indentation. Now that would not be the case here because these heads, they don't fold down. You have to unbolt them, disconnect the cables, and they lift off. So I don't know what caused the bend there. This side doesn't have it at all. Might be on the fence with replacing this whole rail here, but we're going to find out real quickly. So here's the plan for today: is I'm going to take these both off, starting with this one, and I'm going to see if I can get this bend out. We're going to try to form it back, just carefully hammer some things back. If it actually comes out to where it's not really that big a deal, we'll stick with it. If not, might look at maybe another replacement if it's available. I think it is. I know I've bought rails for some other games, but part of it depends on the supply chain and what's available. But worst case scenario, we'll fix this best we can, and we're gonna work on polishing these out. Now normally what I would do is take just Scotch-Brite pad or Brillo or something, and like we did on the lock bar in the last episode, and scrub that out, get the scratches that are the deeper scratches out to where it's a nice brushed finish, like that finish on these. But we're going to take it further and get it finer and finer, polish it on the buffing wheel, then we'll come in with some others and try to see if we can get a similar looking polish to like what we got on the lock bar. So hang tight, here we go. All right, so what do we got to do? We've got all these little nails that go all the way up this rail, and there's one at the top that's in the very back that comes downward, but all the others are right here on the side. So to get these nails out, what I have typically tried to do is carefully get a flat blade screwdriver or a some kind of like a flat blade, like a scraper, like a paint scraper, something thin. This flat blade is just thin enough. And look, I was able to go ahead and get that nail head out some. So I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers. I can grab hold of that head and pull and twist while you're coming out, because it'll have this spiral. You can take a look at that. That's basically, it's in there to try to help hold the nail in. Seems to work pretty well. But yeah, when you're pulling them out, if you twist it on the way out, that will help get things loose. So now that one is out, I can try to move up to another. So, here's the thing you have to do. You have to be kind of delicate with these. If you're gonna reuse these side rails, which is exactly what we're trying to do, we want to not bend them or defect it in any way. So it can be kind of tricky, but we just keep working along where we can and just get it to where you can get it to help pull some of the nails up a little, to where just enough where you can get a pair of pliers or something right behind it. This one, it looks like it's come out just barely enough, maybe. Yeah, it did. So here we go. Taking that one out. There you go, it's out. I'm going to be putting in brand new nails to Pinball Resource has new ones, and I already have bought some of them early on, so I've got them on hand to go do the whole game. But from here, it's just, you know, you keep working along to try to get the nails out. Probably going to continue to work on these bottom ones, and then that'll help flex this to where I can get to the top ones a little easier. So I'm just going to keep on moving forward. All right, so this one's being a little bit of a pain. I've tried putting a couple screwdrivers behind here to try to pull things out, and I'm afraid I'm gonna start bending the metal, so trying something else. So here's basically just a scraper. It's real flat, real thin. Actually, I've had some stuff even thinner than this, but I feel a little better about using this. Let's get in here. And, still use screwdrivers. Trying to carefully get this nail to budge. Come on. Come on. Let's see. I think we made progress. Oh yeah, we absolutely did. That nail head has moved out some. It should be enough where I can grab hold of the head and, yep, pull this thing out. Come on. There we go. We got it. All right. Time to continue on and move forward. All right, so we got the last nail out. Everything should just lift off now. Here we have it. And we're gonna now take it over to the workbench. Got right on the edge of my workbench where I usually set it down where I'm scrubbing everything down, but we're gonna work on this little bend here a little bit first. It's not terrible, but see if we can improve it. All right. Okay, what I normally like to do is I like to set the side rail right here, and of course I'd grab, you know, the various, you know, Scotch-Brite pads and scrub it down, and that is what we're going to do. But like I was mentioning earlier, there's a little bend right here. It's not awful, but I sure would like to see if I could straighten that out some. And here's the other thing I was mentioning about trying to just get some replacements if we needed to. I just did a little check, and it doesn't look like anybody has them available. Pinball Resource, I didn't see them showing that they had them. They looked like they were out of stock. And some of the other sources like Pinball Life and Marco, I think I saw them listed on Marco's website if I found the right thing. I'm not sure if I found the right one, but it was out of stock. And Pinball Life didn't have them at all. There could be some other sources, but those were kind of my main go-tos for EM games, especially Pinball Resource. But all right, let's just see what we can do with this. Just make some minor improvements. So basically what I'm going to try to do is let's get this underneath here too. Just get this in a position where I can gradually kind of hammer this back. Now see, here's the thing, is that this metal it's not just flat through here. Right through here it's actually got this little tapered bend. So we're trying to follow that. So that's why I'm taking this whole little block here and kind of put it in a right position, and it's not going to do much. We actually need to start straight with the hammer. That's not it either. Well, that's just going to put, see, we don't want to do that. That's going to put little dings in it. It's going to need to be something small enough. This actually might be the right approach. Let's take it like this, and you guys can watch me bust my finger live, recorded trying to tilt this way a little bit. The hard part is I need to hammer down, but I don't want to hit it here. I've got an idea. I'm going to go, well, wait, let's see if we can get this way. Just moving forward here. Yeah, it's actually coming out. At least improving some. So, all right, I'm just going to keep moving ahead on it. All right, so I hammered on it for a little while longer, and it's still there, but it's better. I don't know whether you can see it in the camera or not, but it's this little spot right here. I think once it's back on the game, we got it polished out. I think it will overall be better, but we can't get out of the rails, so this is what we're gonna have to work with. So, all right, let's keep moving ahead. So what do we want to do? Let's start out with this Scotch-Brite. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's just start with this. Let me just kind of show you what happens here. So I'm gonna start scrubbing this. This just takes quite a while, but it's what it takes. And as I do this, it's taking out the bigger scratches as I just keep going, get deeper into it, and it leaves smaller scratches. A very brushed, nice, straightforward looking finish. And let's see if I can find something to wipe this down a little bit. Okay, so again, it's hard to tell what you see in the camera. Let's see if I can get to where I know that you can see something here. Okay, so looking up here, you're seeing, you know, like these little scratches that are in here, some right there. Once you get down into the area that I just started scrubbing, you don't really see that. It is more of this brushed finish, which is actually not a bad finish. Actually, it's kind of good where if you have future scratches, it kind of helps hide them. But we're gonna go for a polished look. So I'm gonna keep scrubbing this down, then we're gonna take it over to the buffing wheel. All right. Okay, all right. Well, we've been working on this here for a bit. You probably noticed in the time-lapse video that I was doing, there was an area here that was awful. And it is 99% gone. Mostly gone. I've scrubbed on it for a while. There's something very deep in there, and I think I may just make more of a problem if I keep trying to go at it. But it is much improved. So, all right, I'm out of breath. I'm out of shape. All right, time to go get on the buffing wheel. All right, let's go back over to the workbench and take a look at this and wipe the residue off, rub a little mothers on there, and let's just see what direction we're headed before we go throughout the rest of the rail. All right, let's see what we got here. First thing to do is just wipe it down, get some of that polishing compound off of it, just start to get an idea of how is it starting to look. Well, I am seeing it pretty shiny in spots, but it's not continuously shiny, which probably means it needs to go back on the buffing wheel. But let's just see what happens when I start to rub a little bit of mothers on there. What happens? So let's give it a shot. Come on, Mama, help me. Gotta depend on your mother. Mothers makes everything better. All right. All right, let's wipe that off. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I need to go back on the buffing wheel. But, well, let's just see it. I'm going to keep trying to buff on this. And I think the challenge is going to be to get kind of a consistent shine all throughout. It's one of these things that's maybe hard to show in the camera if I can get just the right angle. Maybe you can hold it still. Maybe that would help. I don't know. What I'm seeing is like right through here, it's really shiny, and then some other areas it's not as much, and you can kind of tell where the buffing wheel has been and head. And you can kind of see a little bit through there. So again, the plan is I'm going to keep trying to make this shiny. If all else fails, we will go back to a nice brushed finish, because I know it can be a uniform look with that. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, I've been polishing on a little bit more. This is not the area that I've been polishing, but I wanted to show you the brushed area into the area that I have polished on the buffing wheel a little bit more. It's still not quite as uniform as I would like right there. See, there's a area that needs to be a little shinier. So I'll admit this is a bit of a pain. Trying to get this nice and uniform. It's not real easy, but I mean, you just have to keep working at it. Down through here, it's not as shiny either, so I'm gonna definitely focus on that area. But it's coming along. This was after wiping it down and then putting a little more mothers on there. So I'm gonna keep pressing ahead and get this whole thing shined up. All right, I think we are there. So I have had this back on the buffing wheel, probably been buffing literally for the last 45 minutes or so. It's taken quite a bit of time just going back and forth. But it is definitely a lot more uniform than it was. And then I went back over with the with mothers to polish a little bit more, sticking with some lint-free cloths to wipe things down. But it's looking pretty good. I think it's going to be time to put it back on the game. But the next step we're going to do after this is that the inner rails, there's a plastic channel that the glass sits in. It doesn't need to be replaced, but it needs to be cleaned. So I'm going to wipe that out real good before we put everything back together. All right, now we got the channel cleaned up. We're going to place this back on here, kind of get an idea how this is going to look. A few little smudges. We'll certainly get another wipe down, but we're going to put some new nails in. Those little spiral nails. Toss those in place, then we'll be jumping over to the other side. I'm also going to take off this back metal channel, give it the same treatment. It's going to get the same polishing. That one actually is probably going to be a lot easier to do, because there's just not as much surface area to deal with. So we'll be cleaning that one up, and then we'll have those rails done. Then we're going to, from there, probably move in. I've noticed I cleaned up some of the metal pieces here. I haven't done this one yet, so I'll do that one just because. And another major thing that we still have to do, this whole circuit panel. The owner really wants to get that cleaned up too, which is going to be kind of tricky, but I've done it before to where you can take this whole thing out, and it sounds kind of scary, but you can put some cleaner on the wood, and out in the driveway, basically, with water, you can rinse all this off, and it certainly makes an improvement. The one issue is all of the little paper decals that are on here. I would probably have to recreate most of those, which may be a trick. So anyways, that's where we are from now. I will update you guys once we have the rails in place, and we'll do another overview from there. But thanks for watching.